Do you have OCD or do you know what OCD is? Well, if you answered yes or no to either of those questions, you may want to watch this. So, my name is Peace Pod Brandi, and I am a certified meditation teacher, and I am here with the very handsome Matt Lambert of Peacefully Wired. And we are doing a 3-part series, and this is episode 1 of it about OCD, meditation, and OCD. So we'll be talking about all sorts of stuff in this series. So I hope you'll give it a watch.
Awesome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So can you start by telling us, some people may know, some people may not, know what OCD is, but can you tell us what OCD is?
Sure. OCD is a severe brain disorder, and it is a belief disorder. There's a lot of misconceptions: anxiety disorder, thought disorder. It's a belief disorder. Most people with OCD have really rigid, irrational, black and white thinking, and there's a lot of fears that go behind that. And so, that's usually what OCD attacks is your beliefs. And there's a lot of symptoms: intrusive thoughts, anxiety, compulsions. That's what it is.
And it's on a spectrum, so to speak. So
yeah,
there might be some people out there with mild OCD that believe that OCD is their superpower. And then there are people clear on the other spectrum of that have
chronic severe OCD. So mild OCD, you hear a lot of people talk about it, and I think it's where a lot of people lump in like cleaning, being neat, stuff like that. And you can have that on the chronic level. But a lot of people have a misconception about a mild version versus a chronic version. Chronic version usually lasts for a long period of time. All of the mainstream surface level therapies and things that you see for OCD are typically for mild OCD. And there is not a lot of knowledge about it on the chronic level. And so a lot of that stuff that works for mild doesn't take you all the way. It's not complete enough for recovery from chronic severe OCD.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I think that there's a lot of people out there that just don't really understand the difference between just a mild case of OCD and what something like a chronic severe case could do.
99.9%. 99.9%. Even the people that are working with OCD, 99.9% do not understand OCD on the chronic level. And if you've never suffered from OCD on the chronic level, then you really don't understand OCD. I don't care how many PhDs you have.
Okay, yes. All right. Tell us how you really feel. All right. So what was your first thought? Can you think back and remember what was that first OCD thought you remember having?
I think when I was in 3rd grade, so I'm probably 9 or 10, and I was about to go on a trip with my dad to Oklahoma, just myself and my dad. I think it was over Thanksgiving. I was really excited about it. And I started having intrusive thoughts about my dad dying prior to our trip. So I remember asking him, like, this is the first remembrance of a reassurance question I ever had, was I asked my dad, like, are you going to die? Are you going to die? And I think I remember my dad saying, well, I'm going to die someday. And that gave me a lot of anxiety. As an 8-year-old kid, or 9-year-old, I didn't really know what anxiety was, but it didn't make me feel very comfortable. But that was probably my first OCD thought. I was worried that my dad was going to die. I had an intrusive thought. I think I had an image of him dying and how that would make me feel. And it bothered me. So I had to ask him, make sure he was going to be around so we could go to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Wow.
I know Oklahoma doesn't sound, glamorous, but I was really excited to go.
Well, it was a trip with your dad, just the boys, and your family was in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of exciting things about that for a kiddo.
Yeah.
So
when you're a kid, it's a faraway land.
It is. It's a faraway, magical land with a yellow brick road.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you've basically, you're mid-40s today. So that was a long time ago. You've experienced OCD since you were a child, really.
Yeah.
And it just kind of grew from there. And so at what point did you realize that you were different from your peers, and how did that affect your life?
I would say probably, I'm thinking like middle school, maybe even a little bit before that. But I think around the time I was 12 or 13, I started looking back now, I felt a separation from my peers. And I didn't really know what that was. I just felt like I was in a different space than most of them in my mind. And it's interesting because when you recover from OCD, you also feel separate from people, because to recover from OCD, you have to change your whole life and the way that you look at things, your perspectives and your beliefs. And then you realize that everybody on the planet has irrational beliefs and conditional acceptance about basically everything. And so you feel even more isolated. So it's an interesting journey from isolation, because I thought I was super different, and I know I'm different now, but in a superpower type of a way.
Okay,
That's where the superpower stuff comes from. But I can also see why people with a mild form would think that it's a superpower, because I can hone in on things too, and like really focus and want to get things done because of it. So I can see why people would say that. But
now, you have not been shy about sharing your self-medication journey because of OCD. And you also took prescriptions as well. So it wasn't like you only self-medicated. You went to countless doctors, therapists, both in the spiritual healing world and the more traditional world. Talk therapy, prescription therapy, all of that kind of stuff. But specifically, because I think a lot of people lean on either self-medication, or they also or lean on prescriptions heavily for things like that. And so speaking about those two, how did those help or hinder your journey with OCD?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people use like the word "this helped me" when you talk about OCD. And usually those things that are helping us are not really getting us better. So in the way that it helped me, self-medicating, I didn't have a lot of anxiety. I wasn't dealing with anything. So it helped me because I wasn't feeling anything, if you want to say that that's helping me, right? Or got me through a tough time. And that's how it helped me. Medications that I took, again, numbed me, brought the symptoms down. But at the same time, there was no belief work, or there was no any other work that was going on. It was just, here you go, here's a pill. Oh, you're back again, 2 years later. Here, let's give you a different pill. So I've taken a whole bunch of different, prescriptions, and done a whole bunch of different street pharmaceuticals. And they helped me in the way that they numbed me. And if you call that helping, I don't call it helping. But at the time, I could look back and see, I would have maybe thought at the time that it was helping me, and I could see how someone would think, oh, these things helped me through, but essentially they didn't really help me. They hindered me because they didn't get me to progress forward. Because when your symptoms are numbed and you're not experiencing that feeling anymore, you feel relief, and then you feel like you're cured, or that you don't have to deal with it anymore. And what you never do is change. You don't ever change. And I think that's a big problem in a lot of people taking medications. I see it all the time. Ooh, medications cured me, or it's been the best thing for me, but you never really hear anybody talking about anything deeper. And so, when you go off those medications, what's your life going to be like? Unless you do the work, there's nothing that is robust.
Yeah. How interesting. So in hindering you, what I'm hearing is they kind of, you still had the symptoms, but you just didn't care about them anymore.
I didn't care. No. I mean, taking lithium was a big example, and that was when I was suffering the most. But I mean, I told you, like, our house could have burned down, and I would have been like, nah. I didn't. I mean, I remember thinking like, wow, the intrusive thoughts aren't really bothering me, and they seem less, but I also don't care about anything. I had no energy. It was not fun. So don't take lithium.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Well, how do you feel your journey with OCD, everything you've been through, because it's been quite the journey. I mean, from not knowing what was going on with you for many years, self-medicating, going to the doctors, taking prescriptions, to coming to a point of wanting to heal, going on a 10-year healing journey. All of this stuff. How do you think that this has set you up to help other people with not only OCD, but anxiety too, because anxiety is a huge part of OCD, and they can be separate disorders or they can be together as a disorder. So, how do you think that's set you up to help other people?
Well, I think there's a lot of places in life where lived experience is the benchmark for or the standard for helping somebody. And unfortunately, in the mental health world, there's a lot of trust put into people that have a PhD or a lot of letters after their name or a plaque on the wall that have never actually had OCD. And so their knowledge of it is book learned, right? I mean, I can read all the books I want about climbing Mount Everest, but if I've never been on Mount Everest, I can't just show up and go, hey, I read all the books. Let's go climb, right? I'm going to need somebody that's actually done it before and been through it. So it set me up to help others because I've had the experience.
Yeah.
I've been through this journey. I know the ins and outs of OCDs. I know of chronic severe OCD. I know the nuances, and I know how to help people based on what I've had to do to get to that place of recovery. All the belief work, all the developing unconditional acceptance, understanding what I know doesn't work and what I know other people have gone through and it's not helping them, and I'm in their shoes. So I share the experience of having it, where I have the emotional connection, where you're talking to me and you're like, oh my God, I do that, right? Where if you're talking to a therapist, that hasn't had it before, it's hard for them they're just kind of sitting over there. I mean, they know kind of what you're going through, but there's no connection of, wow, I know, hey, look, I used to do this. That'll blow your mind, right? Oh my God, I do that too. There's a connection. I know what you're going through. I know where you've been, essentially.
And compulsions kind of hide too.
Oh, compulsions hide too. And there's compulsions that your therapist isn't going to catch because they haven't had it and they haven't been through it. And, you can get into this realm of, wow, everything seems like it's compulsive. And look, it's true. Normal brained people do a lot of compulsions and reassurance and certainty seeking. Certainty is a drug of choice for not just OCD sufferers. It's for people. Humans love certainty and want certainty. It's not a need. It's a preference, but it is a thing. And so, yeah, it's just a lived experience. I've been through it and I know how to get through it. And that experience just gives me another level. It just gives me another level.
That's awesome. Our cat, Mr. Poby, is joining us.
Don Poby.
We call him very many names, and Don Poby is one of them, and so is Poby Newman. We'll tell you about that later. So this has been delightful, but I'm
delighted.
I think this is going to help a lot of people.
Sure.
So, for people that are watching this, how do they work with you? How do they find you?
Good question.
Yeah.
So I'm on this great platform, Peacefully Wired. Matt, your OCD coach. I am on TikTok at Peacefully Wired. I am on Instagram at Peacefully Wired. That's where you can see my content. Now, if you want to work with me, I do one-on-one coaching. So to learn about that, it's support at peacefullywired.com. And we also have a Peacefully Wired OCD community that is not on social media. It is in a private platform where other OCD sufferers are there right now, watching the content, doing the work in a community that they can be supported by other people that have the same affliction that they have, while also not having to worry about the stratosphere, so to speak,
the outside
sources seeing what they're talking about, and they can keep it in a I don't want to say a safe place, but it's definitely a common space that's not for everybody, because
it's a safe place in the sense of there's no outside eyes. Everybody that's in there, this is a paid membership, right?
It is, yes.
It's a paid. This isn't some free platform. This is a paid membership.
It's a subscription month to month.
Yeah.
There's enough content, and we'll be adding enough content that will be continuous for an extended period of time. And what was I going to say? Well, on social media, a lot of people don't understand OCD. So, you can get people comment on my content sometimes, and they'll get in there and they'll make comments that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. And it's their own take about what their beliefs are, and they don't have OCD. And so it's very judgmental, and they don't really get what we're talking about. And so that kind of stuff is not going to happen in our community because everybody understands OCD. And that way, people that have OCD can gain new insights. And it's a place where you can start to learn, oh, wow, that's OCD. I didn't know that, right? I mean, we hear that all the time. I had no idea that was a compulsion. And one of the biggest things about recovering is cutting all of your compulsions, essentially. And it's beneficial to know what those are. Yeah. So join the community if you have OCD.
And you do live group coaching.
I do live group coaching in the community as well. We do a topic, and I'll talk for about, it's an hour. We'll do a topic for about 30 minutes, and then there's 30 minutes of Q&A. And then every month we're going to have a Q&A that's just, the whole thing is basically ask me questions about OCD. So
all of those links are going to be in the description of this video or in the comments. Just look for one of those places. You can also check out his website at peacefullywired.com. And I'm so happy we did this. So we're going to continue with our series. So if you like this one, please come back for the next.
Like and subscribe and comment down below.
Yes, like, subscribe, and comment below.
What do you think about my smile?
It's a great smile. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Peace.